मैंने ये सोचा कि सारी जमात को मैं इस बात पर आमादा करूं कि अगली सदी में दाखिल होने से पहले जहां रूहानी औलाद बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं दावत अल्लाह के ज़रिए, वहां अपने आइंदा होने वाले बच्चों को खुदा की राह में अभी से वक्फ कर दें और ये दुआ मांगें, या खुदा हमें एक बेटा दे, लेकिन अगर तेरे नज़दीक बेटी होना ही मुकद्दर है तो हमारी बेटी भी तेरे हजूर पेश है। माफ़ी बतन, जो कुछ भी मेरे बतन में है ये माएँ दुआएं करें, और वालिदैन भी इब्राहिमी दुआएं करें कि ऐ खुदा उन्हें अपने लिए चुन ले, अपने लिए ख़ास कर ले, तेरे होके रह जाएं। और आइंदा सदी में एक अजीम शान बच्चों की फ़ौज सारी दुनिया से इस तरह दाखिल हो रही हो कि वो दुनिया से आज़ाद हो गई हो और मोहम्मद रसूलुल्लाह सल्लम और मोहम्मद रसूलुल्लाह सल्लम के खुदा की ग़ुलाम बन के उस सदी में दाखिल हो गई। छोटे छोटे बच्चे हम खुदा के हजूर ये तोहफ़ा पेश कर रहे हैं और इसकी शदीद ज़रूरत है। आइंदा 100 सालों में जिस कसरत से इस्लाम ने हर जगह फैलना है, वहाँ लाखों तरबियत याफ्ता ग़ुलाम चाहिए जो मोहम्मद रसूलुल्लाह सल्लम और खुदा के ग़ुलाम, वाक़िफ़ीन ज़िंदगी चाहिए कसरत के साथ, और हर तबका ज़िंदगी से वाक़िफ़ीन ज़िंदगी चाहिए, हर मुल्क से वाक़िफ़ीन ज़िंदगी चाहिए।
है दिल वक्फे यार कर देखो, खिरद को नजरे जुनूने बहार कर देखो।
My parents were the fortunate ones who dedicated me into the Waqfe Nau scheme.
My mother and my father were fortunate enough to be one of the first ones to dedicate their unborn child, myself.
My parents dedicated my life in the blessed scheme of Waqfe Nau.
I'm also Waqf by birth and a Waqf Zindagi, alhamdulillah.
Being a Waqfe Nau from a young age, my parents have always encouraged to give time to the Jamaat and developing that love for Khilafat.
We were ready to serve in any way and shape or form that the Jamaat needs us to be, and that is the true essence of what it is to be a Waqf Zindagi.
इश्क के सफीर है, अलग है अपना बाकपन, अलग है अपना बाकपन। हम इश्क के सफीर है, अलग है अपना बाकपन। है दी के पास बान हम, कहफ के नौजवान हम।
As we look at the history of Ahmadiyya movement, that whenever Khalifatul Masih initiated, announced any scheme, either it was Tehreek-e-Jadid or Waqf-e-Jadid, people of the Jamaat, they enthusiastically took part in those schemes. So at this time, when Hazrat Khalifatul Masih IV, he announced his plan and his scheme regarding Waqf-e-Nau, the same thing happened here. Every parent, every individual, either he or she, he wanted to take part, she wanted to take part in this scheme. They wrote to Huzur. In the beginning, Huzur announced that he needs few thousand people who will serve for the cause of Allah. They will be called devotee and they will be serving only in the Jamaat as a devotee worker.
My parents were the fortunate ones who dedicated me into the Waqfe Nau scheme. And I believe that's one of the biggest favor they did on me, because it is the responsibility, as Hazur has mentioned again and again, that once parents dedicate their child, they need to look after the proper upbringing of their child. Now, I remember from a young age, my mother used to teach us the Waqfe Nau syllabus and the Talimi Tarbiyati syllabus. She used to teach us etiquettes, how to behave when you go, for example, to Ijlasat, to different gatherings of the Jamaat. They instilled the love of Khilafat in our hearts.
ये प्यार का छाया रहे सदा.
Considering looking at other jobs. And it basically came to that point where I was like, is that really what I want to do with my life? I mean, I was quite settled in my job. It was a good company. I was happy there. But basically, I just thought I could earn more money just for the same role somewhere else. So it came to that junction where I was like, is that what I really want to do? Is that my purpose in life? And obviously, it's not. So again, I wrote to Huzu at that point saying I'm ready to dedicate my life. And obviously, Allah's will, the way it happened is at that same kind of time, I received a phone call from MTA. So one of my brothers in Waqfe Nau, who I saw Waqfe Nau Ijtima'as regularly, was a full-time Waqf. And he knew of my desire to do Waqf Zindagi. So he informed MTA, who were looking for more applicants, looking for more Waqf Zindagi to come full-time. Then he informed them of myself and my situation. So I came in, met the MTA production department, and basically from then, alhamdulillah, they took my application to beloved Huzur, and Huzur accepted my Waqf Zindagi application at that time.
खुदा का फजल है जो हर तरफ है रोशनी.
I'm a Waqf Zindagi. I've been serving since 2013, and alhamdulillah, I've been serving as an architect for the Jamaat for 9 years now, alhamdulillah. And my first posting was serving in a project in Spain, in Valencia, alhamdulillah. And then since then, as the years passed, I was able to serve in many projects. Among them was the MTA International hostels in Ghana.
बुला रही है तुम्हें प्यार की खुली बाहें, चले भी आओ ना लिल्लाह, प्यार कर देखो.
One day when I was going back from my school and I was sitting in the bus, and I just had these 30 seconds where I thought and I was reflecting about life. And I had these two choices. Should I go to Jamia or should I do my worldly education? So at that time, I asked myself, what's the purpose of life? Why am I here? And the final conclusion which I made is that, and I believe it was Allah Ta'ala who put it in my heart, that the reason why you're here is to serve Jamaat. And this is what your purpose is.
खुदा हमारे साथ है, तू क्या करेगा हर मन.
I'm also Waqf by birth and a Waqf Zindagi, alhamdulillah. So as obviously I grew up, I was able to attend Huzur's classes from a young age, alhamdulillah, and have his blessings and prayers. But I think the initial thing that stays with me since up until now is that on one of our mulaqats with Huzur, my mother mentioned how all of her children are Waqf. And Huzur in this instance said that means that none of the children are yours. Meaning that, you know, because we're Waqf, my parents can't depend on us financially or in any other sorts, because we could be, you know, sent anywhere around the world.
चांद तारों से सजा है आसमान सिलसिला.
So I finished my education in 2012, and after seeking guidance from Huzur Anwar, I was asked to look for employment in the field of chemistry, which was my area of study. So after each year during my experience, I would report back to Huzur, and he would advise that I should continue my experience in the field. About 3 years had passed, and that was back in 2016. I received a letter from the Waqf-e-Nau department, and in the letter it said there is a need for teachers in Africa, and that my name had been shortlisted into the possible candidates for this role as a teacher in Africa for science.
ہے دل کے پاس بان ہم کہف کے نوجوان ہم.
I remember in 2005 when Jamia was inaugurated here in UK, in London at that time. I remember those fortunate murabbiyan or students who were studying in Jamia MTA UK, they had so much love and so much attention of Khalifa Waqt that I was also moved by that. And I also wanted to join Jamia MTA UK. And I remember that before joining Jamia MTA UK, I had a formal mulaqat with Huzoor Anwar, and I mentioned that I'm Waqfe Nau, and as a Waqfe Nau, we have to dedicate ourselves for the Jamaat, and I'm just choosing which path to choose, and I wanted to join Jamia MTA UK. What was your opinion on that? And I remember beloved Huzoor, he looked at me and he said that it's going to be tough, it's going to be difficult. And he guided me in that mulaqat, and I remember coming out of that mulaqat, I wanted to join Jamia MTA UK. So it's a great blessing being a Waqfe Nau, and be it Jamia MTA UK or any other field, we should give our time to the Jamaat.
When Huzoor looked at the love and the sincerity of the people, Huzoor said that I was astonished how they are ready to sacrifice their children, their unborn children, for the cause of Allah and Islam. First, this scheme was started for 2 years, and then while looking at the applications received by the office, PS office of Huzoor, Huzoor announced it that now this scheme will be constantly continued in Jamaat history.
اپنی دنیاوی تعلیم کے دوران مختلف دوروں سے گزرتے وقت جماعت سے پوچھیں کہ ہمیں کس لائن میں جانا ہے، بجائے خود فیصلے کرنے کے. لائن منتخب کرنے کے بارے میں واقفین نو لڑکے پہلے بھی میں کہہ چکا ہوں کہ جامعات میں جا کر مربی اور مبلغ بننے کو پہلی ترجیح دیں. اس وقت اس کی ضرورت ہے. جماعت پھیل رہی ہے اللہ تعالیٰ کے فضل سے. نہ صرف ان ملکوں میں نئی جماعتیں قائم ہو رہی ہیں جہاں جماعت کے قیام کو لمبا عرصہ گزر گیا ہے، بلکہ نئے نئے ممالک بھی اللہ تعالیٰ جماعت کو عطا فرما رہا ہے اور وہاں جماعتیں قائم ہو رہی ہیں. اور ہمیں ہر ملک میں بے شمار مربیان اور مبلغین چاہیے. اسی طرح اسکولوں کے لیے ٹیچرز کی ضرورت ہے. ڈاکٹرز اور ٹیچرز کے لیے تو لڑکیاں اور لڑکے دونوں ہی کام آ سکتے ہیں، اس لیے اس طرح توجہ کریں. کچھ آرکیٹیکٹ اور انجینئرز بھی چاہیے جو تعمیرات کے شعبے کے ماہر ہوں، تاکہ مساجد، مشن ہاؤسز، اسکول، ہسپتال وغیرہ کی تعمیر کے کاموں میں صحیح نگرانی کر کے اور پلاننگ کر کے جماعتی اموال کو بچایا جا سکے، کم پیسے میں زیادہ بہتر سہولت مہیا کی جا سکے. پھر پیرامیڈیکل سٹاف بھی چاہیے، اس میں بھی آنا چاہیے. یہ تو وہ چند بعض اہم شعبے ہیں جن کو جماعت کو فی الحال ضرورت ہے. آئندہ ضروریات حالات کے مطابق بدلتی بھی رہیں گی. یہاں میں طلباء کو یہ بھی کہوں گا کہ وہ سائنس کے مختلف شعبوں میں ریسرچ میں بھی جائیں، اور اس میں عمومی طور پر واقفین نو بھی اور دوسرے اسٹوڈنٹس بھی شامل ہیں. سائنس کے مختلف شعبہ جات کی ریسرچ میں ہمارے بہترین سائنسدان پیدا ہو جائیں تو آئندہ جہاں دین کا علم دینے والے احمدی ہوں گے اور دنیا دین سیکھنے کے لیے آپ کی محتاج ہوگی، وہاں دنیاوی علم دینے والے بھی احمدی مسلمان ہوں گے اور دنیا آپ کی محتاج ہوگی. ایسی صورت میں واقفین نو بے شک دنیا کا کام کر رہے ہوں گے، لیکن بنیادی مقصد یہ ہے اور جس کو ہر ایک کو جاننا چاہیے کہ میں واقف زندگی ہوں، اور کسی وقت بھی مجھے دنیاوی کام چھوڑ کر دین کی ضرورت کے لیے پیش ہونے کا کہا جائے تو بغیر کسی عذر کے बग़ैर किसी हील हुज्जत के आ जाऊँगा।
पयाम हक सुनाएंगे गली गली चमन चमन।